Would you look at that? You tuned back in for part 2 of What If Raditz Arrived Early. Clearly, you liked the first part, and I'm happy to tell you guys that part 2 is definitely not about to disappoint. That being said, make sure to turn on those post notifications so you never miss a future upload, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and with all that being said, let's get started.
Hey Ross, sauce it up.
Goku's pod would fly in the sky, completely off course to the direction of a green planet, a large one at that, before it would enter the stratosphere and eventually crash land on the planet of the Namekians. Yup, planet Namek. Goku would be unconscious at this point, and so we would switch perspectives to a village elder. This person would be a character that many of us know, Mori, who would arrive at the crash landing spot and watch as the pod would open, and there he would be greeted to a heavily damaged Goku, who at this point is unconscious. He would then take him out of the pod to heal him with herbs and such, because he's not about to just risk healing him up fully, and in case he might be a threat to the planet, but since they have pretty powerful fighters, he's not really too worried about all that. He also doesn't even recognize the Freeze the Force emblem or any of those things, so he simply assumes he's some random character. He knows he has some armor on, so he might be powerful, and so he takes caution. Goku would end up waking up a couple of days later after this, and this is when he would begin to ask where he is. Mori would actually look at his direction and explain to him he's on planet Namek, before Goku would jump out of bed and say, "Piccolo! I thought you were," before the Namekian would hear the name Piccolo and be like, "A Namekian name?" This would catch Mori off guard, as Goku would then fall back down due to the pain and says that, he's gonna get back up and defeat him once again, before Mori would then say with a confused tone, asking him who Piccolo is, saying that it sounds like a Namekian name, but he doesn't quite know anybody named Piccolo. He would then proceed to tell Goku that he's probably mistaking him for another Namekian, seeing as they look pretty similar, and Goku would then pretty much be informed that he is no harm to him, and so he would also inform Goku that he was actually the one who healed him. Goku would then see the bandages on his body and seeing the herbs being whipped up before himself, before then proceeding to apologize to Mori, saying that he mistook him for a person who he had a fight against a long time ago, with Mori asking if he was a Namekian or if it was on Namek. Goku would say no, that it was on a planet by the name of Earth and that his pod was heading to that direction. He would explain that he was there because the ship must have gone off course, but he was trying to escape from the Freeze the Force and the Saiyans who were forcing him to wage wars on planets. Upon Mori hearing this, he would be shocked at the news, before telling Goku not to do any of those things here, with Goku saying of course he wouldn't, that he always did hate doing all that stuff anyways, before he then proceeds to ask how long until he's fully healed, because he needs to go back to Earth and use the Dragon Balls to wish his brother back to life since he died, protecting him back on that nameless planet, saying that he needs to get stronger or else he'll surely be killed by the Saiyans once Frieza finds out. Murray at this point would be shocked at this and ask Goku, how he even knows about the Dragon Ball's existence, before remembering that the person that he mentioned was a Namekian, asking if he was the person who created the orbs. But Goku wouldn't know. He would shrug, saying that he's unaware of this, and the Namekian that he knew tried to take over the world, so he had to stop him, but he was unable to, and his brother was actually the one who took care of that problem. He would then go on to explain that he needs to go soon, and then Mori would tell him that his ship is way too damaged to even function anymore. So even if he was to try to escape here and get healed, he would have no means of transportation. Goku would grit his teeth before saying, "Ah, damn it! He can't even get off of this world to train and get stronger." But Murray would say that there are Dragon Balls on this planet, seeing as they are Namekians, and that he would have to speak with Elder Guru about all of this stuff. Goku would ask where he can find Elder Guru, and he would proceed to tell Goku, Murray would proceed to tell Goku that not just anybody can do that. Goku would tell Murray that while he may not be a pure of heart person anymore, he is somebody trying to do good by the universe, ridding himself of the Frieza Force and getting away from the Saiyans. His conviction in his eyes would show it, and Murray would then nod as he would agree to Goku's intentions. He would then proceed to take Goku towards the Elder's house, and he would actually tell him that once he is healed, they would end up going the next day. Murray would put one hand over Goku before then healing him, knowing that Goku is, well, a good person. And so, the next day would finally arrive, where they would fly off towards the direction of Elder Guru, with Murray telling Goku that as far as, he can take him, he's just going to be taking him to the place where Elder Guru stays at. Goku would nod before thanking, Murray, telling him that he's super thankful for all that he's done so far, and saying that if there's ever any way he can repay him for it, to just say the word. Goku at this point would fly closer and closer towards the direction of Guru's home, and Nail would actually be standing outside of the door in a defensive manner, trying to tell him to leave. However, Guru would inform Nail to let him pass, and from here, he would have an interaction with Guru where he asks about using the Dragon Balls. And Nail will take heavy offense to that, saying, "How dare he think he can just wander in here and ask things of Guru," saying that he's not even a native, but Guru would hold his hand out before then politely saying he can at least be given a chance to explain himself. He would then say, "Come closer, child." He would then proceed to read Goku's mind, and he would be very surprised at the life that Goku has had, before then saying, "I see. You have been through a lot, and your intentions are pure. I will allow it." Also, he would then proceed to look at Goku and tell him that he has quite a lot of potential within himself that he's not even letting out. And Goku would say, "What does he mean by that?" Before Guru, with a smile, would then put his hand over Goku's head before his power would immediately begin shooting up at levels that he has never could have imagined. Going from a measly 2,800 after his 3 years of training with the Saiyans and also using Zenkai boost in battle, would have had a pretty decent power level, to an immediate 20,000 after Guru would have unlocked his potential. After this boost, he would feel his power skyrocket, and Nail would even be impressed by, how much power Goku had hidden away. He would then proceed to simply nod at Goku's direction before telling him that he better not step out of line, because even with all that great power, he's still way more powerful than that. Goku would agree, saying that, he has no intentions of doing anything harmful, and Guru would actually tell him that since his intentions are pure, that he would help him with the collection of the Dragon Balls. Guru would tell him the direction of the first ball, and even tell him that once he does end up gathering all of the Dragon Balls, to ask a Namekian to speak his wishes. He would then fly off towards the first village, and he would begin explaining his story to multiple of the elders of each respective village, who would then go on to give Goku their ball and also tell him the next directions of the next village. Eventually, after a bit of time would pass, he would collect all of the Dragon Balls and then finally get his wish of bringing Raditz back, his brother, from the dead, with one wish using to bring him back and the other using it to take him to Namek. He would finally end up being happy, wondering where his brother is. However, he would brush that aside before finally using his last wish to wish for a fast ship that can take them to different planets. And so Shenron, or Oolong, or wait, no, not Oolong, but the Namekian Shenron would glow his eyes as he would then say, "Your wish has been granted." And Goku would see a ship arrive in front of him, and a very, very large and fast one at that. He would then ask where Raditz is, before then being told that he was wished on to Namek and he didn't know that he meant here. The kid would then politely apologize to Goku, but Goku would facepalm as he then politely says thanks anyway and asks if he could leave his ship there, before he then proceeds to go looking for Raditz, which doesn't actually end up taking very long because he spotted Raditz flying off not too far from his area. At this point, we're going to be switching our perspective towards Raditz, who at this point was in hell and was literally just doing whatever it was that Raditz does to pass the time. At this point, he ended up getting wished back to the planet where she died on, and then immediately being teleported onto Namek, where he then was surprised and tried to find out where he even was. We're now going to skip over to him basically seeing Goku flying at him with insane speeds, before Goku would have then gone on to explain everything that has happened, and Raditz would simply tell his brother that he did a good job, asking him how he's even back to life, like he thought he was dead and that he was at hell. Goku would explain to him what the Dragon Balls are, and Raditz would nod, saying that, that was a good call on behalf of his brother. At this point, they would then fly back and are about to leave. However, Goku would then remember Elder Guru and asks to have Raditz have the same power boost that he did, bringing his power of 36,000 up to 30,000. Well, not 36,000, but like 36,100 basically, to 30,000. And mind you guys, these power increases are not like exactly the biggest thing in the world, but seeing as we had Krillin go from like a power level of like basically like the Cybermen to a whopping like 20 something thousand in the Namek saga, I think it's more than fair enough to say that Raditz and Goku's power levels would definitely shoot up quite a lot. At this point, they would then go off, and Guru would actually, before they left, would actually have suggested that they actually train with Nail to gain power. Goku would be all for the idea, but say that they have to get back to Earth soon, knowing that the Saiyans will definitely try to look for Earth to get revenge on Goku, not wanting him to be, allowed to survive after betraying them, saying that they probably won't come anytime soon, but they will eventually, and he needs to get ready for that. Saying that even though he is a lot more powerful now, he's going to assume that Vegeta will probably get more powerful in that time as well. And as things currently stand, he's probably just as powerful as Vegeta was at this current moment. Guru would say it shouldn't take longer than a month. And so we're going to be having a 1 month time skip where they learn new techniques and also gain the ability of sensing ki, with both of their power levels going way up because they end up exploiting Zenkai boosts, and they would end up getting a total of 85,000 in terms of the power level of Goku and 92,000 respectively for Raditz. If you guys do remember around the Namek saga, we saw Goku train for 1 week and use a couple of Sensu beans to get a power level which was completely off the charts. It was at least 100,000. Plus with Kaioken, the man was an absolute Chad, like it was insane. And so with Nail being at a power level of, like 35,000 at once like Goku arrived, and since he also would have ended up training with the Saiyans, he would have ended up getting a power level of 70,000 after training with them for so long. And keep in mind, this is heavily lowballing how powerful the Saiyans could actually have gotten with the training, since like I said before, Goku achieved insane powers within a week because he had a goal. And since they don't have a goal, that's why I'm kind of lowballing it. And also just because, I don't want to make them too absurdly overpowered at the beginning of the series. However, that said, with their final day of training complete, they would thank the Namekians for their hospitality and tell them that if they ever need them, they could always use the Dragon Balls to get into contact with them. They would smile and go off to Earth, with it taking 3 days to arrive. Once Goku steps off the ship and sees the stratosphere of Earth, Goku would feel nostalgic, and Raditz would feel horrible for what he did to him. Not saying anything, but cracking a joke about it, with Goku saying that he gets what he's trying to say, and telling Raditz that he forgives him, before promptly stepping out and telling Raditz that they should go towards the direction of one of his old friends, because he misses them, and Raditz would agree with this. They would then leave the ship near the direction where Goku used to live by, meaning Mount Paozu, as they would fly off and arrive at Capsule Corp, where Bulma and Yamcha are actually shocked to see a Goku who was all grown up at this point. They then call the rest of the Z fighters, and a couple of hours later, everyone would end up arriving except for Krillin, with Goku informing them on their situation and finally bringing up the elephant in the room, asking, "Where's Krillin?" This is when everybody would go silent, as Bulma would be the one to speak up, saying that, well, the Dragon Balls have been inactive since the day Goku left. And this is when Tien would finally arrive, as he would see Raditz and be like, "Goku, what's he doing here? I thought with you arriving back, you might have ended up escaping from him, but if that Saiyan is still around, then what are you even doing here?" The rest of the gang would look towards Raditz's direction, saying that they understand the situation and he doesn't even seem like a bad guy. But Tien would keep his guard up, and Goku would nod as he would tell the rest of them about their adventures, about the Saiyans and about Frieza, a tyrant with power like no other, saying that they've gotten so much more powerful since the last time they've seen Goku, and that within the past 3.5 years, Goku has managed to become a powerhouse in and of itself, with a whopping power level of 85,000. Roshi would definitely be able to sense this just due to the fact that, my man is a martial arts master and could sense ki. so he knows just how powerful Goku is. However, the rest of the squad would not have the same, the same privilege, I guess you could say. Goku at this point would then proceed to be asked by Bulma how he even got to the planet, with Goku explaining that he arrived on a ship, with Bulma asking to see it sometime soon. Goku would agree and then proceed to ask Master Roshi if he has anything left to teach them. He would explain he doesn't, and that at this point he's way more powerful than anything that Roshi could have ended up teaching him, saying that all he really needs to do is refine his martial arts, and from there he should be good. He would look towards Raditz's direction before saying that this is the Saiyan that, took Goku away. Before he walks past him and says, he definitely is powerful. I could see how you defeated, King Piccolo so long ago. Before he then proceeds to pretty much Raditz just kind of stays silent and says, watch out, old man. But Goku would say, Raditz, chill, we're not here to start any conflict. He would then proceed to inform the Earthlings about the threat of the Saiyans and saying how someday soon they will arrive. They're not sure when, but they will arrive and it will become a problem. They don't know exactly when, but they will definitely get there someday, and they need to be ready for it. So the rest of the Z warriors that actually fight would end up getting huge amount of times to train, and a lot of them would get way more powerful than they were in the original. Goku, in search of answers regarding the Dragon Balls, would end up actually telling Raditz that they should go to check the Korin's tower, which Goku would arrive to, and he would be informed about, how Korin really has nothing left to teach them. So they would end up going towards the level where Kami used to be at, and Popo would actually be up there, as he would inform Goku about the link between King Piccolo and Kami. Goku, upon hearing this, would say that, it was unfortunate that they lost the Dragon Balls, and would finally understand why the loss of his best friend had to happen. Goku would think that it's okay because he should be able to revive Krillin back with the Namekian Dragon Balls, and he would look towards Raditz before saying that they needed to defend the Earth from the Saiyans first and foremost, before then proceeding to tell, Raditz that they're going to be needing to start training. Mr. Popo would actually end up telling Goku that there is one way they can get way more powerful soon, and that's through the means of the hyperbolic time chamber. However, it's not something easy to accomplish, and it will be taking a lot out of them. Goku and Raditz would just be like, we have time. And so what would end up happening is they would end up remaining 1 year within the hyperbolic time chamber, training, and training, with it being extremely hard for them to stay in there during that year, but they still end up managing to do it. And so they would end up getting massive, and I mean massive gains after spending an entire year in the hyperbolic time chamber. Look, I genuinely don't know what a perfect amount of time for them, in terms of how much powerful they would have gotten, but I'm going to be saying that they at least get a 10 times boost to their power. But it's that's just an insane amount. Goku was already at 85,000, so 85,000 times 10 would be 850,000 in terms of his power level, so he's getting close to 1 million. Raditz would pretty much be 50,000 in terms of a number away from 1 million, and they would be very, very, very powerful at this time. About 1 day has passed in the real world, and so now Goku and Raditz are simply left to see how they're going to pick their lives up. For the time being, Goku would have ended up showing Bulma the ship that they arrived in, and Bulma would have actually given Goku a huge sum amount of money to pretty much take the technology off of him, offering him 50% of anything that the tech would end up making for Bulma. And so from there, Raditz and Goku never really had to work, only having to focus on training. They would end up living on the house of Mount Paozu, with Goku actually having a new house built for himself and Raditz. And eventually, during this insane time skip that I'm going to be saying is going to be around the course of 3 years, Goku would actually end up getting closer with Chi-Chi, with Raditz kind of being a little bit jealous of Goku, and actually getting a little close with a certain female of his own, which would be Launch. Because it just, come on, a Masako X did that, I think it fits, come on, let's just have it happen. So yeah, Raditz would end up getting with Launch, and don't think that this story is about to just go exactly how Masako X's is. It is going to be a whole lot different, and it's going to be having different plots and themes and all that stuff. That being said, after about those 3 years would have been done, Goku's first child would be born. Gohan. And Raditz would not exactly have a kid of his own at anytime soon, so that would be the only dynamic that's going on during this time. During the 3-year time skip, they would have gotten decently more powerful, like doubling their powers in terms of like their strength. But seeing as they both think that they are very, very powerful at this point, they would not really think too hard about the training aspect of things. Seeing as Goku does have a saying with him, if I'm being honest, Goku probably would have gotten more than just 2 times stronger within the course of 3 years. But I don't want to make him too OP to the point where the series just gets blown by immediately. So I'm going to just be keeping things at a whopping, let's say I said 2 times, but honestly that's really underwhelming. So I'm going to be saying that they get about 5 times more stronger. So Goku's power level goes from that of 8,500,000 and Raditz goes from 9,500,000 to like times 5, and then Goku's times 5. So yeah, do with that information as you guys will. That being said though, this is when Goku and Raditz would be, pretty much at home one day when out of nowhere on the news, the news would go off pretty much informing them about an alien invasion. And Goku would end up looking towards Raditz before saying, "Raditz, do you sense that energy?" Raditz would say he does, and he would say, "It's time." Like for part 3.